Hi again, this is the second part of the video, but you might be watching it first. It's a bit confusing. You have to look at the sheet and decide what you're going to do. But today this part of the lesson, we are ordering decimals. We're putting them in order of how big they are. So these are taken from the A sheet, but you might be doing it with the B sheet again and the C sheet. The only main difference is the numbers will be very close together and they might have some thousandths in. So it says arrange these decimals in order, smallest first. So the first thing we would encourage you to do, don't try and do it all at once. I know there's that temptation to just try and do everything all at once and get them in order. But we would recommend that you put all of the fractions, decimal fractions that is, onto the place value grid that you'll have a support sheet for, or you can just write them out in your book. Do that first before you do anything else. Some children like to think, oh, I'll try and do them all at once. But it can get quite confusing when we're doing this. So I'm going to leave a line to try and space them out, but I'm trying to find the smallest number there. So the other day we were ordering fractions. It's the same idea, but often you've got more than one to think about. So you're trying to find the smallest one. So I can see that the first one has a 1. The second one has a 3, so that's quite a lot larger. So I know that's going to be the biggest number actually. So I've got this one and this one. So the first one, the third one, and the fourth one. So then what I need to do is I need to look at the tenths column. So I'll follow with my fingers across. Okay. Now that one was 1.5, so that's a bit bigger than 1.3 and 1.3. If you can see. So it's going to be between these two. It's like a process of elimination. So now you've got 1.33 and 1.35, and hopefully you can see that the smallest one there is 1.33. So what we do is we put that down. Because all the numbers today are going to look very similar, they're going to have loads of 3s or loads of 5s or whatever, and it might be worth crossing them off above so that you don't get confused and do them again. Okay, so let's carry on then. So now we're comparing, but it's easier now. We've got these two starting with 1s. So we've got 1.5 and 1.3. Well, it's going to be the 1.3 that's the next biggest after the 1.33. So it's going to be this one, 1.35. Okay, again, put a line through the one that you've done. Okay, and as you go, it's normally the first one that's the hardest. Once you start knocking them out, it's easier. So now you're comparing 1.53 and 3.15. You can see very clearly that the next biggest one is nearly got my numbers muddled up there. It's easy to do when they all look the same. It's 1.53. Okay, if you want, you could put a line through that one. But by this stage, you probably know the order. And there you go. There you have it. It really helps to put them on top of each other so that you get those right. Okay, we'll do one more example now. Okay, so again, copying up the numbers. This is 5.61. Just copy them down. Don't try and take shortcuts because you'll think you're taking a shortcut, but then if you get a message saying, can you do that again? Then it wasn't a shortcut really, was it? Right, so this one's got 15.6, so you must make sure you get that one there in the right column, and that's why those lazy decimal pointers. So now this one you can see slightly more confusing because you've got lots and lots of gaps. You've got a gap there, a gap there, a gap there. Okay, often I teach the class just to go and put a place value holder in. I try and do it with a different coloured pen so that, if you have one, so that when you're writing your answer out underneath, you actually just keep the original number in. You don't bother putting these place value holders in, but they're useful for comparing. Okay, so clearly this one's the largest, so we don't want that one because it's got 15. So we've got one with 5 ones, one with 6 ones, and one with 5 ones. So it's going to be between the top one and the bottom one. So we follow across here. So we've got 5 and 5 in the ones. So follow across. Right, we've got a 1 and a 6. So it's clearly that this bottom one here is going to be the smallest one. Okay, so we'll put that one in. Okay, see, taking the wrong numbers. It's easy to do. So let's just have a think about that. I was going to take the 0, but really I don't need to write that down. That was just a place value holder to help me. Although this time it's actually confused me a little. Okay, so I've done the first one. Again, cross them off as you go. Okay, so again, a comparison. You've got 110, it's not going to be that one, it's too big. You've got a 5 and a 6, so it's definitely going to be the 5, isn't it? Okay, let's see whether I can get it right this time. So it's going to be 5.61. Okay, cross it up. You don't need to write down the place value holder. Okay, but when you're doing the B's and the C's, those place value holders will really come in handy. Okay, the next one, we're comparing these two. So of course, 6 is smaller than 15, so 6 is the next biggest one. So it's 6.51. And the last number, again, if you want to cross it off, you can, but by now you're only left with one number. It's just making sure you write it down in the right columns, and that's why these place value charts help us. It's 15.6. Okay, hope that makes sense. Good luck.